Packet 4, quadratic graphs, quadratics, that kind of thing. We're going to type on the calculator. We're going to jot down a few notes to help us remember how to work these. Okay, that's where we're going with this. So for number 1, we're going to write down f of x equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 8. Okay. When you see f of x equals, I want you thinking, oh, y equals. That means graph. That means I can put that in my calculator and look at something. We may actually look at the graph, or we may be looking at the table of values, but we're looking at something, thank goodness, it's something I can use my calculator for. So here we go. Let's type that in, because here the directions say, select the interval of values for which the f of x, or the y, is positive and increasing. So, I'm going to turn on our calculators. We're going to go to y equals, and we're just going to type that in. Here we go. Negative, remember to push the negative, not minus, negative, x is beside the alpha key, squared, minus 2x plus 8. Okay, so I've got that typed in. And if you can't see it you can see it very clearly on the meet. So if you want to join the meet, then please do. So I've got that. I want to look at the graph. Let me look. Push graph. There's my parabola. Look at that go. All right. Question is, select the intervals of the values for which y is positive. Well, here's what I know, mainly because I'm the teacher. From negative 4 it starts going up, because we always read left to right. So it's going up here, and it stops going up about negative 1. Now, I can see that, and I know that because, I am who I am. However, you may not be able to tell that from the graph. So let's go to the table. Second graph, we're going to look at the table now. Now, A says where x is less than negative 4. Well, that's not even an interval. A is not the answer. Look at B. X is negative 4. Look at my y. As I go from negative 4 to negative 1, because that's what B says, what's happening with these numbers? They're increasing. B is the answer. Because look at choice C. If I start at negative 1 and I go to positive 2, what's happening with these numbers? They're decreasing. And the question said, what interval is it increasing? There it is. So the answer is B. Okay? And it's not D because 2 is not an interval. So we're going to make a little note here to remind ourselves. For this type of question, I'm going to use the calculator. I'm going to type into y equals. I'm going to look at the graph. But then I'm going to go to the table. To check the numbers. That's where I'm going to get my answer, is from the table, because I'm going to look at those numbers and see which ones are increasing. Okay? Does that help? Is there an algebraic way to do that? There is. But it's crunch time, so we're going with this. All right, number 2. So we're going to write number 2, which is x squared minus 16 times x plus 2. All right, here's the question. Select all the values for x to where this would equal 0. Oh, look, I got some stuff that equals 0. I can use my calculator, so I'm going to go back to y equals and clear that. And I'm going to type that in. Parentheses, x squared minus 16 times x plus 2. Graph it and look at it. How many times does that cubic function intersect the x-axis? 3 times. How many answers should I have? 3. Because 3 times this is going to equal 0. Go to the table, please, and find the zeros in the y column. There's one of them. What's my answer? 4. So x would equal 4. All right, keep going, because I've got to find how many zeros. 3. And I know that because I looked at the graph and I saw it 3 times. So here's another 0 right here. What's my answer? -2. And keep going and look for the other 0. I'm going to go over here and look for another 0. There it is. And x equals 4. The other one, thank you, should be -4. I have a problem with negatives today. Thank you. So -4, -2, and 4. Those are my x values that will give me 0. Now, just as a reminder, if I'm looking at this parentheses only, right, look at this one, what would x need to be so that this would equal 0? -2. So it's just finding the zeros in the parentheses. You can solve those separately. Oh, x plus 2 equals 0, it's -2, and then you type in the calculator, it's faster. Okay, and get those zeros. All right, turn the page. Okay, number 3 would work the same way. We're going to look at number 4 on that back page. Number 4. Here's what it says. A model rocket is launched at t equals 0 from the top of a hill, height of 60 feet. The formula, blah, blah, h of t equals -3t squared plus 12t plus 60. Okay, when you write these things, remember t's have tails, so you can tell that between plus signs. Write an equivalent form. Equivalent form. Does anybody remember what that means? Well, lucky day. It means vertex form. If I have standard form, the only other one is vertex form. Okay? And we're going to reveal the maximum height of the rocket. Okay. Let's remind ourselves of just a couple things before we move forward. Vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. That's vertex form. If I have a maximum height, I'm talking parabola. What goes up must come down. If it's a maximum height, which way is it going? Down, right? If it's the maximum, that means my vertex is at the highest point. So my parabola is opening down. And if it opens down, that means I've got a negative slope. I got a negative A. If it's opening down, I've got a negative A. Okay, here we go. In order to write in vertex form, I need to know the A, the H, and the K, right? Okay, here we go. Calculator. Like I said, I've got f of x. I'm going to use calculator somehow. Here we go. Negative 3x. Remember, we have to use x. We don't have t available. We always use x in the calculator. Plus 12x plus 60. I'm looking for the vertex. Already have my a value, right? A is A is A. A is always that first coefficient. Now, second graph. Looking at the table. Where is my vertex? Look at those numbers in the y column. We always look in the y because remember x is just counting. It's what? Ah, 272. What is it about the number 72 in that y column? What do you notice about the numbers above and below it? They're repeating. Remember the vertex, this is why we review. The vertex is the y value where the others repeat each other, right? Okay, so my vertex is 272. My A is negative 3. My vertex is 272. There it is. So now I'm going to take my information and put it in this vertex form. And we've got it. Here we go. Y equals A times X. What do you remember about this H value? Ah, it's opposite. Negative 2, K stays the same. This is my equivalent form to this one. Oh, it is. You want me to write it darker so you can see it better? There you go. Yes, I realized that as soon as you were saying it. Don't forget to square that parentheses. Come on now. Makes you feel any better. I've done that all day so far. Okay. So it is squared. So just so you know, number 5 is the same kind of idea, but a little bit different. Here we go. I've got a maximum height, and this time it tells me the vertex. Negative 1, 9. Maximum. What kind of A do I have? It's a negative because remember that vertex is the highest, so my A is negative, negative A value, okay? And it gives me the intercepts or the 0, the x-intercepts. X equals negative 4 and x equals positive 2. Write the equation that would represent the graph. There are 2 ways to do this because they gave me this information. I'm going to show you both of them. The first one, we're going to write just like we did in vertex form. Y equals, what kind of A do I have? kind is it? Negative. If they don't give you an A, you just use 1. So don't write it, just negative. And then I've got X. In this case, remember this is the vertex right here. It's a negative 1 here. What's it going to be when I pull it in? Positive 1. And K stays the same. So when I write that in vertex form, that's what I've got. They gave me the vertex, and I know because it's a maximum, it's a negative A. If it were a minimum, what kind of A would I have? Positive, and I wouldn't put anything in front. Okay, but let's look at the other way because I have the intercepts. Here's the other way to write it. Y equals, and I can write it in factored form. I still have a negative A. Goes out front. Because I have these, I can say X, negative here, positive here, positive here, negative here. So you can write that either way, and I want you to see both ways that you do that. If they give you the intercepts, you can write it in this form. So if it's multiple choice, I need you to see that both of these are correct. This is vertex form, and this is factored form. Okay? Okay, if you turn the page, those problems, we just went over how to do those. You would use your calculator to do those. Okay? Even on the next page, look at number 17. Let's look at number 17. And here's what it says. I've got a minimum -1, -25. My x-intercepts are x equals 4, x equals -5. Okay? Give me just a second to write that down. So this is number 17. Again, I can write both of those equations. Remember, this is the vertex. It's a minimum. Which way does this one open? Up. Because my vertex is the lowest point because it's a minimum. So this one will be a positive A. Positive A. Y equals, it's positive, so I don't put anything in front. X plus 1 minus 25. H comma K. Okay? The other one is Y equals, A is positive, I don't put anything in front. Positive 4 here, what goes in here? -4. -5 out here, what goes in here? +5. Okay? Both ways to write those equations. If you're not given an A value, you use the invisible 1. Okay? Okay. Yes, this is the vertex. If it gives you this ordered pair, if it tells you what the minimum is, that's your vertex. Okay? H comma K. H comma K. And this is our X value on the coordinate plane, and this is our Y value on the coordinate plane. Very good, thank you. Any other questions? Okay.